Oh, Bellabeautébar, what have you done? This is the Come Play With Us palette that I said it in a You Don't Need That Shit video that I'm very interested in buying this because of the awesome color story. And then I had a couple messages actually exchanged with Bellabeautébar and they sent me this palette in PR. And not only that, I do now have an affiliate code with them. It's ELLAKINKLEY. As always, as I try to have it everywhere for 10% off. So thank you to Bellabeautébar for sending me this as PR. So here it is. This is the Come Play With Us, a palette with this insanely cover art. I did follow the artist on Instagram too. Bellabeautébar tagged them. And let's have a look here inside. I'm honest with you, the more I look at this palette, the more I like it. This is one of those palettes you look initially at it and be like, yeah, it's kind of random. And then you start digging more and more into the shades. You start to group together shades and you'd be like, actually, that could work very, very well. And let me tell you, this look here is number 2. So I haven't done my final thoughts because there's still one look missing, but both looks that I already filmed made me feel very, very festive. So, I mean, look at me. I look like a Christmas tree. Absolutely stunning. So here we have the palette. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mattes and 8 shimmer eyeshadows. I will tell you right away, most of these shimmers are they are not squishy. They are squish flaky, if that makes any sense. I hope you can see that in some of these shades you have like a weird texture. And when you dip with the brush into this, usually with eyeshadows, you take the brush, swipe it on top, and what you have is like a kind of evenly coat of pigment on the brush. These here, like Imaginary Friend, Gold Room, 237, Elevator a little bit, and I assume, since I haven't used it, I can just assume Blizzard 2. There, you have flakes on your brush, and the thing is that if you were like me, you don't trust these flakes. You just keep on digging in the shades, and then you apply it, and it's way too much. So this is a flaky formula, a little bit like dried chrome flakes from Vanessa Myricks, but not as oily. And when I made my swatches here, I thought, okay, they do feel a little bit oily, and they swatched kind of oily in the shimmer in the shimmer parts. But on the eyes, I can already tell you they're not. Usually these two oily shades, they break up on my lid, and none of them did. In the first look, we have a little bit of breakup with one specific shade. This, as said, look number 2, nothing. But the swatches just look so promising and so good. And if you do not like using these flakes with a regular eyeshadow brush, I can always recommend you get yourself a silicone brush. They will apply it very, very good. And they basically grab that flake, you can transport the flake to your eye and then distribute it quite evenly. I will create for you 3 looks in this video. The first 2 are already done, and I am very, very excited for you to see all of these because 2 out of 2 so far is sad. Chef's kiss. So let's get into the looks. So I start with Caretaker. And I have a feeling that all of the looks are going to start with Caretaker. But I take that shade and apply this in crease and towards the brow. This is going to be my transition shade. I now go into Red Rum. Yes, we're doing the red look at first. And that one goes directly here in half of the crease. Next up, I go into Overlook. And by the way, I love that this red stays red and that it's not turning pinky. I apply Overlook in the center of the crease and then I bring it inwards, and whatever is left I do take outwards, and yes, I'm covering a little bit of the red, but don't worry, we're going back in. I took again some more of Red Rum and now I just reapply it here. I also used some of that first shade, what was it called? Oh, Caretaker. And I just used this to buff out any weird edges or harsh edges. I now pick up Elevator. So moment of truth here, because you know my biggest pet peeve with Bellabeautébar was always the shimmers. So we will see. I take elevator on that outer part of the lid. Oh boy. Oh, this is pretty. Now I pick up the gold room. Oh, this is such a beautiful gold. And I apply this on the rest of the lid. And where they both then meet, I do take Gold Room and I swipe it on top so that I basically blend Gold Room on top of the red shade. For liner, I take Urban Decay's Double Life and line the waterline. Then pick up Overlook again and smudge that on the lower lash line. And then I, of course, go into Red Rum again. And that one I use slightly lower and just buff it in and out. For the inner corner highlight, I actually go into Shine and, well, you guessed it, apply it. And here we have now the finished look, and I do really like it. I can admit, or I can report back immediately, that the Gold Room shade, it is a bit squishy to a point where it's a little bit too much for me, but it's not as bad as I had to criticize in previous palettes. So I do have, I don't know if you can tell, slight bits of separation, but really, really just the tiniest bits, which it makes me very, very happy. Overall, the look is, I feel very, very Christmassy. Like, this is more spooky palette for me actually than it is a Christmas palette, but the longer I look at it, the more Christmas I get. So let's see how Christmassy and wintry and holiday-ish the next two looks can be. Starting the look with Hedge Maze, and I apply this on the outer crease part, and I also connect it right to the lashes. I then pick up Overlook again. That is honestly a very pretty mid-toned blending shade, and I apply this in the center of the crease, and then I bring it inwards and basically work on it so that it connects well into the green. And I still had a little bit of glitter from the first look here on the brush, so now a part of my crease has glitter in. It's no problem. I now pick up Caretaker and use that to just smooth and buff it out. I now go into 237 and I apply this starting here in the center, and then I bring it outwards. I now pick up Imaginary Friend and I use this now to fill in the rest of the lid. Ooh, that is pretty. There is green, blue, pink, gold. That's a very holographic looking color. I take the About Face Line Artist in the shade Call Me Crazy. It's a bluish green one, and line the waterline. I then pick up Hedge Maze, buff that along the lower lash line. I picked up a lot of the shade, but that is on purpose. I now pick up Caretaker and I use this now to soften that lower part here. Inner corner highlight, honestly, I feel like Shine would be a good choice. Frostbite and Blizzard, I don't think they match because they are more blue than anything, but everything here in me wants to take the Gold Room again for the inner corner, so you know what? I'm gonna do that. So I carefully picked up a little bit of that shade and now just tap it on very concentrated. I flick it a little bit here on the lower lash line, but keep it very, very concentrated here. Okay, here we have the finished look, and I just realized that in the first look I didn't tell you what color I was wearing on the lips. I, matching for the red lip, wore a Fenty gloss. This is Cherry Amour. That was in a limited edition set, and today I am wearing Chanel lipstick in Boy. That look is awesome. I am I am in an absolute festive holiday Christmas mood, which is honestly surprising because I was not expecting this. So let's move on now to the third look. Let's tackle the last look, and not gonna lie, I am a bit sad. I start with the shade Twins on quite a big brush here, and I use that in the crease, but I'm bringing it mainly up towards the brows. I am honestly quite happy that this shade is not as punchy. So I went in now 2 times in total to achieve this look, and that makes me happy. I now go into Isolation, and that one I use to lighten up the inner crease. And then I go into Typewriter, and that one I use for the outer crease. So we're going quite icy blue today. Now I tap into Snowcat, which is texture-wise completely different to all the other shimmers. And I use this on the outer half, but actually I'm focusing on the outer third. I just let it fade in the center. Now I pick up Blizzard, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for this shade. So I take this and I start to apply this on the inner part of the lid, and then I work it outwards, and where it meets with the Snowcat shade, I just swoosh it on top and wiggle them together. I picked up now a little bit of the Typewriter shade, and I just go through the outer crease mainly, and then a tiny bit inwards. I also picked up a little bit of Isolation again, just to re-intensify the frosty inner crease. I want to do something quite icy, but greenish turquoise icy, so the Icebreaker shade from ColourPop I think is the best one here. Use this to line the waterline. I then pick up Typewriter, and that one I smudge just on the outer half of the lower lash line. And then I pick up Twins and start to smudge that on the center inwards and smudge out the Typewriter shade. And of course I also pick up Isolation, and I use that on the inner part here to make it super frosty. For the inner corner highlight, of course, I pick up Frostbite, which is also a little bit of a different texture. It's not as flaky as the other ones. And that one I apply as my inner corner highlight, connect it a bit with the lid, and then smudge a tiny bit on the lower lash line. And here we have now the finished look. On the lips, I'm wearing the Cinch Beauty Ambitious Ash lip liner and the Dior Sequin lipstick in 113 Twinkle. I was able to catch one unused new from someone, so I'm very happy that I have this shade now. So let's talk about the Come Play With Us palette. I'd say let's go right in with quality. I looked up how did I rate other Bellabeautébar palettes, because I'm honest with you, since this is, for the most part in the shimmers, a quite specific formula because of these flaky, they're not squishy this time. They are like dry, half squishy flakes, if that makes any sense at all. But I found it a bit unfair to compare this formula with something else, since this is a little bit different. And if I compare it just in the Bellabeautébar universe, honestly, this is the best formula that they have brought out. You know, I am a big fan of the Realm of Fairies, but I had some thoughts on this. While the Morally Grey for me was one of the best so far, quality-wise, I know a lot of you don't like that. I absolutely did. And some of the shades in the Morally Grey are in a similar formula, like the Gold Room or 237, for example. They are flaky, yes, but they are not squishy, oily, but they are kind of emollient. It is a very weird mix in my opinion, but I do like that mix a lot. So honestly, I gave this quality a 9 out of 10. I can't believe that I'm saying this, but I think the biggest dud from Bellabeautébar that I ever tried was the summer collection last year, the melted mattes and molten chromes or so. These were, even the mattes, in such a bad quality, but something changed, and I am more than happy that back then with the Realm of Fairies and the Morally Grey that I ordered and gave them a second chance, because now I am truly convinced that they did something, that they listened to feedback. And when I chatted with Bellabeautébar, they even told me, yeah, we know you had a lot of issues in the past, but maybe maybe if you try it again, you can see that. And I do see that. The mattes in here are equally as good as they are in Realm of Fairies. They are just very, very smooth, buttery, easy to blend, and just a joy to work with. And now that leads me to the color story. When I initially saw this, my thought was, oh, how random is this color story when they tried to sell me this as a holiday palette. Spooky holiday, yes, but holiday palette. But honestly, these 3 looks here, or no, 2 out of the 3 looks were so holiday coded. They were so classic Christmas coded for me. This one here is winter coded, so love that. Honestly, I have nothing to criticize about this color story. Everything makes sense. There is not a single shade in here that I'd like to exchange for something else. That's why, and I can't believe this, we have a 10 out of 10 in color story. This is a perfect color story. It's absolutely beautiful. In terms of my personal excitement, I give this a 9 out of 10 because I still have some problems. I look at this and I still think, yeah, it's kind of random. Although the looks showed me it's not. So here we are now with the Come Play With Us palette, and it scored a total of 9.3 out of 10. And in my collection, that is equally as good as the Adept Cosmetics original and the new Minka. Blend Bunny Longing, Izamaya, Core 1 got that, and the Nomad Cosmetics Fuji 5 Lakes palette. I am absolutely in love with this palette. I look at the outside and I'm not thinking of holiday. I look at the inside and I'm still not really thinking of holiday. I mean, red and green, yes, but it's not very holiday coded when you look at this, but the looks are completely different. They were so festive and sparkly, and in my Alamus series in December, I will do a video with festive palettes, and I'm still missing some palettes that I want to show because I do like to show a mix of older ones and newer ones, and this will make it to that list. And I'm pretty sure that I will create maybe even another look in a video where I show festive makeup ideas. So I am surprised. I am very, very happy with this, and I can't believe that, honestly. That weird experience last year that I had with the Bellabeautébar Melted Mattes and Molten Chrome palettes, that threw me off of them so hard and heavy that I ignored them for a long, long time. I am very, very happy that I didn't ignore them with the Realm of Fairies and the Morally Grey, and that I have now the opportunity to explore them further. I am very happy with this palette. I really want to tell you, if you felt like, or if you feel like me and you say that Bellabeautébar, the formula is not mine, maybe try this one again. I want to point out again, in terms of the quality of these shimmers, they are like flakes. I try to describe this in the tutorials as good as possible, but I don't think that these are squishy, oily, emollient, and like wet, The molten chromes back then, I said that they are pretty, they are really pretty, but they felt wet and oily and they broke on the lid. And with this one here, I had a little bit of breaking with the Gold Room when I applied this. And with this here, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just see the texture of my eyelid. Yes, that's absolutely fine. But that's it. It's really, really just a flaky eyeshadow formula. I don't think that this is the best eyeshadow formula if we compare this with other eyeshadow formulas on the market, but within the Bellabeautébar brand, That is the best one that they have done yet. And if you want to buy that too, I do have a code with Bellabeautébar set. It's ELLAKINKLEY and it saves you 10%. So now I'm very curious, what are your thoughts on this palette? When you saw the looks, were you just equally as surprised as I was? If you have this, how are your looks going? I am so curious how all of you think about this palette, but I am beyond surprised with this one. So I think that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out any of the other upcoming videos, and especially Alamas. It's, oh my god, I think when you see the video, only 1 week, 1.5 weeks, something like that. Oh, exciting. Thank you so much, and I'll see you very soon.